from Boston and beyond. Meet 981fm.com and iHeartStation.
Tonight's episode of Conversations with Coach La is brought to you by Virtual Services by Shamina Austin. Do you need to delegate some tasks, or are you looking to declutter a space? Well, assign it to her. Introducing Virtual Services by Shamina Austin. She's currently accepting new clients and offers a variety of back office services depending on your needs. Contact Shamina at 857-273-1528, 857-273-1528, or email shaminaaustin@gmail.com for more information.
Conversations with Coach La. Coach La, your favorite neighborhood therapist, having real hard convos, contrasting pessimists. Generational trauma explored, broach delicate, getting to the root of the pain, healing impediments. Every week signs copay free lessons. Bet on self, trust the process, no questions. Feel your feels, journey to be healed, no stressing. Conversations with Coach La's now in session.
What's going on? How y'all doing? It's a wonderful evening here at the Urban Heat Studios. It's another episode of Conversations with Coach La, your favorite around the way therapist. And you know, I have been in deep reflection. You guys know that we're radio with a purpose. And I always wonder, you know, how my listeners are making it through the week. And there's just been so much going on as we get ready to enter into this election. So much going on in my own community and in my own family. It just seems like things have been really heavy, you know, extremely heavy. So tonight's conversation is going to be near and dear to my heart. Some of you know I have put together and curated a series of poetry events here in Boston, Massachusetts called Po Therapy, because I'm a spoken word artist and I write poetry. And I have really been a strong advocate and champion for writing, journaling, poetry, spoken word as a way of expressing one's emotions, feelings, and healing. So tonight's guest is what do you want to say? She's no longer a novice, as we say in the poetry community. She has officially stepped into the realms of no longer being someone who is not a spoken word artist. Remember when I first met her, she was like, I don't know, Coach. I don't know. Maybe I might do it. And people were like, you know, just really egging her along. Like, you really need to do it. You really need to do it. She was one of the first poets to come and do Po Therapy. So I am excited to have her on the show. She goes by Queen of Hearts. Some people know her by her stage name. I also know her as Evandissa. She's also part of the brilliant Cabral sisters that if you see their content on YouTube or social media, they are quite entertaining. So I'm hoping she brings some of that personality to tonight's show. She is of Cabo Verdean descent, and she loves to travel. She has cultivated her craft since early years. I think if I recall her bio correctly, she started writing poetry in the 5th grade. She is dedicated to spreading healing, love, hope, and joy. You know, those are all the things that speak to my heart. And she is very much in staple here in our community. And what do I mean by that? She is deeply involved in community service. You probably see her out and about in the community doing advocacy work, both in the Cabo Verdean community and just the community at large. She also says she's known to be the pastel lady. So I am curious to know what that all means. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Miss Queen of Hearts, also known as Evandissa, to Conversations with Coach La. How you doing, sis?
Hello. I'm doing great.
Yes, it's nice to hear your voice.
Thank you.
I'm excited to have you. We have been watching each other's journey for a while.
Yes.
And I think I have gotten to know many aspects of you through your content. So what do you want the people to know? If I said, who is Evandissa? Who is she?
Well, I'm a nurturer, a person with a passion for helping people. I'm also a mom to 3 beautiful young ladies. One who is an adult now, by the way.
You
know how I
don't look
feel
like
about
you
that.
have adult children.
She's 21.
Wow. I
That's
have a
all I'm gonna say
19-year-old.
about that. So,
Yeah.
wait till they're 21.
Yeah.
I'm just a well-rounded, down-to-earth person. Very humble. I just like taking care of people, which sometimes leads me to not take care of myself. But
We're gonna talk about that.
and as you as you mentioned, I love traveling. So I love culture. I love, like, I don't want to say I love everyone, but I feel like I love everyone. I just like people. And so I just like being involved with things that involve learning about other people's cultures.
Interesting.
And I love languages. So I speak multiple languages.
Okay.
Like,
okay. How many languages do you speak?
5, but not all 5 are fluent.
Okay. All right.
But like 3 are
okay.
pretty.
So tell us which ones. Give us a phrase. Say, just say hello. How are you in your languages?
Okay.
Which ones? And then tell me what they are. See if I can guess. Okay, go.
All right. So, Kumabusta hoje?
Is that Cabo Verde?
Yes.
Okay.
Bonjour, mademoiselle.
French.
Yes. Buenos días.
That's easy.
Or buenas noches.
Spanish.
¿Cómo estás ustedes?
Okay. All right. So that's 3. So 2 you said you're not fluent in. What are the other 2?
The French I'm not fluent in. I have like Haitian Creole I can understand a little bit. Okay. But that's why I'm like, I ain't fluent in that. Spanish, I know a lot more than I give myself credit for because I've translated Spanish like at jobs. And even the not weird thing, but the crazy thing about me is like I will literally be like outside. And if I see someone that speaks another language that I can speak struggling, then I will insert myself in their business so I can help them. Oh, that's it happens all the time. Yeah.
That's a nice gesture. So I have always wanted to be more fluent in a language. I feel like we go through high school and you have to take 4 years of it, and I just did enough to pass, I feel like. And I wish I had taken it a little bit more seriously. That's definitely one of the things. If you have a regret, that would be one of my regrets. Not that I know it's not too late,
right?
But I just feel like that would have been very intentional had I given it the time, since I had to take the class.
Because it probably doesn't even take that long. I mean, I learned French like in high school. We had in high school, but after high school, when I visited, my teacher told me that she didn't know what she was doing. And her husband is the one that was actually the French one. She was just regular American. Yeah. But she's like, I had no idea what you was doing. Meanwhile, I'm learning like, what's my favorite phrase?
Swears?
No, it wasn't even. It was like give me some ice cream.
Oh. Yeah. I have a huge respect for individuals who are able to speak multiple languages, because from what I'm told, you're thinking in both languages simultaneously often. And so I just think that is that's just beautiful if you can do that.
Oh yeah. And it's a struggle. It's a struggle.
Yeah. And those that come over, I know one of my good friends, his wife is in her mid-30s, coming to America, and speaks French, no English at all. So she's having to learn everything real time. She has a lot of bravery to go someplace. I don't even know. I probably would cry every day.
It's hard.
I mean, cry every day.
Most times, even now, like I have a hard time. Sometimes I'm trying to say something in English, it comes out in Creole. So I'm literally like stuck, like, oh my God. And I'll keep saying the Creole word until the English comes in. Yes. And then vice versa. Like I'll be saying something in Creole and then I can't remember the English word. Or I'll remember the Spanish word, which I'm not even using every day, everything but what I need. So it's so hard. And then sometimes I trip up on my words and I can't get, so like, for example, in Cabo Verde, there's really no grammar, right? Okay. And I was raised, I came when I was 6. I'm 43 now.
Right.
So I grew up with my mom, who still talks like she came from Cabo Verde yesterday. But we've been here for over 35 years, right? So me growing up with her that way, I still have the Cabo Verdean, speech going on. So then I get tripped up even more. So it's just trying to talk.
So
it's like
I think Anybody out there that struggles with English, because I feel like I struggle to speak and pronounce some English words correctly. Better yet, another language. So shout out to all those that speak fluent languages. I have much respect for you. So we tonight are going to talk about a lot of different things that really is, who are you as a person?
Yes.
And what brought you to do the work that you do. Now, you didn't, in your bio, you didn't talk a lot about what you do for work, but you're very much grounded in the community. You do lots of advocacy work. You have multiple jobs.
I have multiple
and
jobs.
You have your children, and you're also a grandma too, right?
And I'm a grandma.
And you're a grandma.
She's gonna be 2.
So how are you juggling all of these aspects of being a woman with these multiple hats? Because you said sometimes you just putting everybody before yourself.
Yeah, well, not sometimes, all the time. And I still struggle with putting myself before others. But luckily for me, I have dope family members who recognize that I do that. And so they help me to like put myself before, everyone else, or just like, hey, it's your relax, go sit down. Like, for example, today I made breakfast for the family. So, and I was like, oh, the cook doesn't clean, because that's what my coworker says when he's making breakfast for us. He's like, the chef doesn't clean. And I'm like, and so they're like, yeah, that's right. But then I start like cleaning and doing stuff, and then all the children are like, can you get the heck out of my kitchen? Get out of the kitchen. What are you doing? So I'm literally getting yelled at to go sit down.
Yeah.
Do
you find that that's one of the hardest things to balance as a nurturer, is sitting down and allowing somebody else to do the work?
It is, even though it's something that I absolutely want. Like my what do they say, love language, my first love language, because everyone has all 5 of them, is acts of service. So because I do so much for people, I'm more appreciative when people do stuff for me, and even more so when I don't have to ask.
Right.
So even like when I do ask, because I'm now learning to ask, which also took me years to do. So even when I do ask, I still find myself like I have to get up and do something. But I've been forcing myself to sit my butt down. So I think I've been doing pretty good.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
So for those that are listening, because I'm sure a lot of listeners, including myself, I will raise my own hand. How do you learn to switch that off when you're labeling yourself a nurturer and you're a mom and you're working 2 jobs and you're doing all of these things? How have you taught yourself to be able to accept the help if that was a struggle?
It's kind of like you have to decide this is what you want to do, and then be consistent with it, and then not beat yourself about it when you are not consistently doing it, because you're not always going to excel at something that you're trying to change. But if you want to make changes, you got to start, period. So the first step is to just start, just try it, and then just try to do it consistently. And then if you remember in the middle of not doing whatever the change that you're deciding to do, then do it right there and then. Maybe I'm in the middle of cleaning or something like that. We'll use cleaning as an example. And I'm like, okay, I'm exhaustedly overtired. Go take 5 minutes. 5 minutes. You can start slow, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Maybe you need an hour to yourself, because sometimes you might need an hour to yourself depending on the type of day that you had. Like me, my days are ridiculously crazy, as you would know, due to multiple jobs and mom, and then if we have events for poetry and everything else, and then
you make it look easy though.
And that, don't forget the pastel lady. So if I'm selling my pastels,
you make it look easy, which is one of the things that why I wanted to talk to you, because often if I never had sat and had a conversation with you, I would have never known how much you were carrying.
Yeah.
And how much was on your plate. So shout out to everybody out there that looks really good and you're carrying a lot, but doesn't mean it's not heavy.
Right.
And I think most people, if they're on the outside looking in, you look well put together. You look like everything is just on point. But there's another side to that, that sometimes it is not all pretty.
Right.
It's messy.
Exactly.
It's overwhelming. And I think even being able to be transparent and vulnerable, that don't judge a book by its cover. You see this on the outside and you think you can just add more and more on my plate because I look like I'm carrying it well.
Exactly.
Because I think that's the hardest thing, is that people think you can just take more because you look like you got it going on.
Right. And then on top of that, I usually just like if people ask for help, I am one of those people who will come to your aid and I won't think about it twice. Yeah. And then I don't usually vocalize anything that I'm dealing with, going through, or anything like that. And then when people usually see me, they usually see me in like a happy, bubbly mood or something like that. But that's just genuinely me. I like to have positive energy and attitude all around. I don't want to walk around all day sulking or whatever.
Right.
But I have, however, learned to be 100% of myself, and that it's okay to bring that. And that's actually thanks to my job. It's okay to be bring 100% of yourself, even when you're not feeling that 100% you, because then everyone else can know, and then everyone else can like maybe move accordingly. You know what I mean? Or just so they can leave you alone and it doesn't affect everybody else's day. But being genuinely, when I see people, no matter what I'm feeling, they make me happy. And I like to make people feel happy because people's happiness make me happy. It's just in my nature.
Do you ever think that's cliche though? Like this whole idea that we're just always bubbly and people make us happy, because some people get on my nerves.
Oh no, they do. And you know what? And it might be shocking to some people that have never seen that side of me, but I'm a fireball. So like I have an attitude problem and I can go off. I'd rather not though. I just rather not go off.
Okay, now we're getting real.
You know what I'm saying?
Because I think, I think I'm also a very outgoing, happy person. But I have, especially around this time of year, I need to recharge. And I find that I want less and less social activities and I need a break. And because I'm always usually bubbly, outgoing, and very talkative, when I get in this space, people think I have an attitude.
Okay.
And I don't. It's just, I don't always want to be on. Like, I don't always want to talk.
Right.
Like my work, I'm talking to people all the time.
All day.
Sometimes I want to shut up.
Right. But see, that's why I isolate myself in my room. I will lock my door. And you know what? The kids can come knocking on my door. I will talk to them through the door. That's the only time when I'm trying to take my break. Don't bother me. At least an hour. Let me relax. Especially after work. Do not. And they know. As soon as I come.
Yes. So I have this side. And I mean, I'm also a Cancer. I've recently started following some of these Cancer pages. And it's interesting listening to how people see Cancers. Yeah. But I'm moody, but I embrace that. My moods are definitely like up, down, all around. Yeah. And I allow myself to have that space, to have that bandwidth of emotions and not to stay consistently on 10 all day. So
which is good.
What's going on, Douglas? Thanks for tuning in. Again, thank you for everyone that's listening on all the places. I know you're out there. I know you're listening. I've been getting some great feedback about the show. So thank you to Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, all you wonderful spaces and places that people tune in at, and of course iHeartRadio. Yes. So I've been wondering about therapy more and more. And I've noticed a shift, and maybe you've noticed this too, where we are talking about therapy more and more in our communities. More and more people are acknowledging that they're going to therapy, encouraging people to go to therapy. And it's not just people who have severe mental health challenges, but just everyday people as a way of practicing self-care and
I'm proud of that.
Of having balance. Right. Yeah. So how has therapy helped you? Have you had a good experience? And if you haven't had a great experience, tell us about it.
So I haven't had a full therapy experience because I haven't made time to do that. However, I did speak to a couple of people and it's been very helpful. So including coaching. So I think therapy is definitely not for everyone. But I am absolutely glad to see that a lot of people are, because we are living with trauma from generations of generations. And if people can find a way to get therapy and recognize also that there's many forms of therapy. It's not just talking to a therapist. So there's different ways to, find that. And I think that people going back into their mental and just trying to heal themselves would be so much better. Like therapy can help with that. And I know some people don't want to try it, but for me, it's like, try it once and see what it does. And I know sometimes, depending on the therapist, your first time might be like, you know what, F this, I ain't never do a therapy in my life like that. And they really don't. They really don't. And it could just be a bad connection. But, try again.
It's
or
like
find
dating.
out what the different forms are. Yeah,
you got it. Therapy can feel like dating. When you meet your therapist, people are feeling each other out and trying to see if it's a good fit. Can I tell you this? Can I tell you that? Yeah. But I feel like healing is so many buzzwords now. Like this, I'm on my healing journey.
Yeah, but what does that mean?
Exactly. I'm healed. I'm not yet healed. What does it mean to you? Like when someone is saying that, and have you ever framed it that you're on your healing journey?
I don't say that I'm on my healing journey. I'm sure I've used it, but what I do is I call it self-evaluation. Mm-hmm. So I've always done self-evaluation without therapy, because I always like to be better, see what I can do better. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I have people that point out things to me, right? That sometimes I'm oblivious to. And again, I might like catch an attitude about it or something like that. Like, you're wrong. No, that's not me. I don't care what you're talking about. Right. And I've done that. Okay. I've done that.
That's the feisty side.
Yeah, that's the feisty side. Because my sister actually had told me one time, like, we can't tell you nothing because you take it the wrong way, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what do you mean? You can come and tell me anything. So I had to stop and listen. So these are the times, like, even when I'm like, no, I don't know what you're talking about, I'll still go back and sit with myself, rethink about what they said, and see if it's true or not. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'll put scenarios and places that happen. Oh, you know what? And then I was like, oh, dang, you were being a bitch. Like, you really were. Okay. So then I worked on it.
Right.
So then I worked on it because I want people to be able to tell me when I'm wrong. Be able to tell me if I hurt their feelings. That I hate hurting people's feelings. So, and if there's anything that I can rectify it, then I'm going to do it. So, yeah, people need to get their mental right. Some people think that they're healing, but it's like, okay, but what are you really healing? They throw all these words around freely nowadays, and it really means none of that stuff. Like,
it's so interesting that you say that, right? Because we are throwing around a lot of buzzwords. Yeah. People are following Instagram channels and they're getting their therapy from their favorite therapists on Instagram. Yes. That might be me, but I think it does not replace actually sitting down and having your own therapist. Right. So you guys are tuned into the Urban Heat. This is 98.1 FM. And this is Conversations with Coach Lau. We got Queen of Hearts, Evandissa. She's actually going to do a couple of poems for us as well. Yes. She's a poet. She's a content creator. And she also does another show called Inside the Maze. She creates content for that, which is super, super, super dope. You guys got to make sure you go follow her on Instagram and make sure you tune into her show, Inside the Maze. So I'm curious, right? When we think about healing in this healing journey and being open to hearing people's feedback, it's hard not to get on a defense because what you're really saying is that you get defensive and you're like, I don't do that.
Right.
Right. And then you have to, as you said, self-reflect. What made you decide to do that?
Because I feel like, because again, I'm always trying to do better, always trying to be a better person. I work with people. So my thing is, if you're surrounded, and even if I didn't work with people, you're surrounded by people all day, every day, whether it's a loved one, someone you're dating, strangers, whatever. You need to know how to operate around people, and you can't just go around being an asshole. I mean, you can, but you shouldn't just be going around doing that.
But respectfully, right? Some people will label you that just for having a boundary and just for telling them no. And so when we are sacrificing often our own self-care, and we're constantly putting other people before ourselves, do you think that that's because we don't want to hurt people's feelings and we don't want them to feel some type of way?
I feel some of us, yes, because even I can include myself in that. It took me a while to say no to people. And I did get called a bitch for saying no. And you know what? I was proud for that. But at the end of the day, I wasn't.
Sometimes people got to sit in the discomfort and not be made to feel good.
Right.
Do you think that could be part of it, right? If we're constantly trying to be perfect and make everybody feel good.
That is part of the problem.
Do we ever really sit with, nah, what you did was wrong?
Right. But there's also a way to say that to people. Like, and it's not like because you're coddling them or whatever. It's just that you don't have to be rude or disrespectful to check somebody or to tell them that they were wrong. Because at the end of the day, you want them to receive the message. And that's the important part.
Okay. So we talking about tone then in delivery.
Right. Because that also affects the mental. Because if you're telling me in a bad way, if you tell me anything in a bad way, you're not going to get the good result out of me. That's not happening. So that means you gotta be smiling when you say, hey, so you hurt my feelings? No, you don't have to be. I'm just saying, don't be an a-hole when you're saying it.
but I wonder, right? Because if you're upset,
then you need to go cool down. Don't even come talk. First of all, you shouldn't be talking to nobody when you're upset because you're gonna say the wrong things and you're gonna mess up your mental and that person's mental.
But if you're upset, right? So I'm not saying that you're at like 1,000,
right?
But your feelings are hurt.
They are,
right? So I'm upset. Like I did took a couple of deep breaths, but like I'm coming to tell you that I'm upset. Most times when people come tell you they're not waiting until they're no longer upset. And maybe that's part of it, because once you calm down and you're no longer upset, sometimes you change your mind of even saying anything.
You already set the fire on now. The fire, it's lit.
But I think a lot of my clients, they wait so long that it gets brushed under the rug, and now things are calm and things are better. So they don't want to stir the pot, and they don't want to seem sensitive, and they don't want to bring something up that's already past.
Well, I wouldn't say wait that long.
Okay.
Yeah. I've done it. And me, I like stewing in it. Again, it all explodes at the end of the day.
Yeah, but if you're mad and you don't want to talk when you're mad, it might be a minute.
Exactly. Take that 5-minute break. Like I said, take that hour break. It doesn't have to be like the whole day, just you better take your break so you can come clear-headed.
Okay.
Listen.
So I have found this is one of the reasons why therapy is good. Right? Is that you can come to therapy with all your emotions when you're on 1,000 and go to hell off in therapy. Like you can cuss the person out and do a role play with your therapist and let it rip.
Yeah.
And then
get your words.
Get your words together. Get your speech right. And then go talk to the person. So if nothing else, therapy is a great sounding board, right? A great place for you to get and process all of those pent up emotions so that you don't go ruin a relationship because you were so upset.
Exactly.
So you can use therapy in that way. But I do think there's a lot of value in addressing something in the moment. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it depends on the situation, because some things, if you address in the moment, can go really to the left.
Have you ever had an experience like that you addressed it in the moment and it went to the left that you would feel comfortable shedding some light on?
Have I? I try not to be dramatic, or let's just say problematic or something.
So
I'm sure there has been.
But if that's not your normal MO, then that more than likely, then you could address something in the moment and keep your cool.
But see, I like to set it and forget it type of thing, right? Like I like to deal with stuff immediately. I don't care how I'm feeling, how you're feeling. I like to let's deal with it and let's move on. However, like in my past relationship, the person was not like that. They literally
I know we was gonna be talking about a man, y'all. That's usually that family and intimate partners are the ones that we struggle with dealing with things in the moment. Usually. Oh, and also your job, because you don't want to get fired.
Right.
Right. But a random person, you're in line, somebody get in front of you, or somebody tries to cut you off, you're ready to throw them the bird real quick.
Listen, I have road rage like nobody.
Yes. But your partner, you're like, oh, but I don't really want to have a problem. I really don't want to argue tonight.
Like,
so
I gotta deal with you.
I'm gonna just let that go.
Yeah.
No. Oh, you're my sister. I know how you are, so I'm not gonna say anything. Or you're my mother. So,
but not me. Don't let me stew in my pissed offness. Do not. It's not gonna get better. I'm not gonna calm down.
Okay. So we didn't kind of derailed a little bit, y'all, but y'all get the drift of why therapy is important and how both Queen of Hearts and why I would recommend therapy, even if you just go for sessions to process. And I've literally had people come and say, I'm coming to therapy because I need to have a difficult conversation with my mother, and I need to process these feelings before I have it. And it's like 3 or 4 sessions, and that's it. It doesn't have to be these long, drawn out relationships. Some people think therapy is like ongoing. It really isn't. A lot of time it can be very short, brief, solution focused therapy sessions.
Yeah. And sometimes I think like they feel like it's like people telling them what to do or something, or just they're because sometimes some people don't like talking to other people about their problems, and then never mind a whole complete stranger. For me, I feel like the stranger might be a little bit better with telling you stuff because they don't really know you like that.
And
right. So they can
objective.
have a different perspective.
Right. And they're going to be objective because they don't know you. Because you can't say, oh, well, you just said that because you know my sister, you know my mother, you know me. Exactly. They don't know you. They don't have any background except for what you bring to the session. So it's a lot harder to sort of be defensive. Not that you won't be.
Right.
Because it's all, again, this is why you go to a professional. Professionals have a way of saying things to you that make you just think and ponder.
Right.
So you write poetry.
Yes.
And I've always looked at poetry as a way to express your feelings and to get things out. What has been your inspiration for your poetry? And then which poem do you want to share with us tonight?
Okay. So my inspiration has really been from, in the beginning of time, it's really pain. So anytime I got hurt, whether it was family, boyfriends, whatever, that's when I would write.
Listen, we the Mary J. Blige of poetry. I was telling somebody that I write when I be going through stuff.
That was my therapy, like growing up.
Yeah.
So I dealt with a lot of trauma.
Yes. My poems is like love. Yeah. Family, upset at my family, things not going right with like work, and just stuff also where I've written about the contradictions of the world. Like, spirituality.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
I'm all into that, by the way. So we'll have to have another session.
Yes.
But so I write about it was always hurting, pain. And then when I started like more now in this later time, now it'll be sexual. And
we forgot about those, and sex.
And sex. I might do that one today.
Just no cursing.
I don't think there's any
no body part stuff, but
all
right, y'all, hold y'all seats. We're gonna get a
little
provocative on Conversations with Coach La. But one of the things that I love about poetry and poetry communities is that you can pretty much write about any and everything. And it's going to be embraced. And if you got an issue with it or you don't like it, they tell you to write a poem and come back the next week. That's why open mics are so good, because it really gives you a space to just let it rip.
Yeah.
But then as you start to heal, your poetry sometimes changes and you don't want to read those poems anymore.
They do.
So like when I did my open mic at Lizard Lounge a couple of weeks back, and I went and was looking through my poems that's going in this book, I was like, ooh, you was in a space, girl. Like, I don't even know, like, if you gonna want to read these poems in a little bit, because they was raunchy, they was angry, they were bitter.
Yeah,
there was a lot of sadness, there was a lot of grief. And these poems, yeah, it was pretty deep. So what poem are you gonna read for us?
Let me see. Now I gotta see if this got any.
What are you going to read?
Hold on.
No, you don't have to read raunchy now. You said it was raunchy, but
okay. No, I said let me see.
You don't gotta read. You don't have to read raunchy. But yeah, she said she had a couple that she was.
No, I don't think it has any swears in it. I think I had cleaned it up. This one's very short though.
Okay, good. So, all right, so she's gonna read. What's the name of this piece? Gonna set it up for us.
I'm gonna start naming my pieces. I really don't name them.
Okay, so this doesn't have a name.
No.
All right, listeners. So you guys are going to hear a piece by Queen of Hearts. It is not named. Yes. So in the chat on Instagram, LinkedIn, or you could even call in and just give us a name for the piece after she is done. It's a no name piece, yes, but it's short. So okay, all right,
let's go. I know what it is. You excite me. Always so enticing. Even if I'm scared to do it, I'ma do it because you like it. Ain't never scared to do a dare because I know you're standing there, watching my body moving, loving how it's bare. A little interlude in the nude. The scent of you makes me so weak. I melt from the tone of your voice every time you speak. I can't help myself when you're close to me. I just want to be all on you like it's supposed to be. The touch of your hands caressing my skin. Your lips kissing every inch of me. I wax for you, baby, so you can lick every drip of it, never missing a beat. I love watching you watch me while your eyes roll to the back of your head. Whispering, damn, babe, this ish so good. I gotta take my time with you. Nah, we ain't through. Stay tuned for part 2.
Ooh, okay, that was sexy. I have an idea of a name. My name would be part 2.
Part 2.
Yeah, part 2.
Which I still owe the audience. Part 2 from the last boat therapy.
Part 2. That would be part 2.
Work on part 2.
Part 2. That was sexy.
Thank you.
So may we ask if that's about a particular person or relationship? What's the backstory?
Sometimes it is. And sometimes it isn't.
So that piece,
this one, let me see.
Is that a backstory?
You know what? It is. And you know what's crazy about it? Mm-hmm. There's actually a really super long version, which was more like a story that I was writing.
Okay.
And then I turned it into a poetry, but I have the other long version, but that definitely cannot be. I can't put that on the air. Will we be canceled?
It's X-rated.
Yeah, it's super X-rated. It's really long. It's really detailed. Yeah.
Yes. So I remember you performed so when you came to pole therapy, I don't think you had been performing.
No.
Yeah. So after that though,
yeah.
I think that you got bit by the poetry bug and you were like, oh, I like this.
Yes.
And you were on several stages, one of which I believe was the City Winery.
Oh my God. Yes.
You remember that?
Oh, that was so scary.
She did the City Winery. I was in the room for that. And that was a really good piece. It was about community though.
Yes. So a lot of my poems that I've been writing now have been about the community because I'm really wanting to, I mean, as you know, that's what I do for work anyways, but I really want to help the community get better. We need to get better. So in any way that I can, aside from the job that I do, I'm trying to do that. Whether it's through my words, really through everything.
So I'm hoping that you are going to be at the Urban Escape at the Cape, because pole therapy is going to be there on December 30th. We're doing it in the Cape. This is the final pole therapy of the year. Okay. So for everybody who's trying to come and be a part of pole therapy, now you can come no matter where you are, whatever state you're in. It's a 3-day weekend that the Urban Heat is hosting in Falmouth, which is going to include a session of pole therapy. It's going to be super dope. We're going to be looking at the ocean view and in a sexy little lounge restaurant. Yes. So, we're going to do, of course, there's going to be an all-white party. We're going to have a pajama jam. It's just going to be jam-packed. So you guys got to definitely go and look at the Urban Heat website and sign up for pole therapy on the Cape. It's going to be super dope.
That sounds nice.
We already started booking some suites, so I'm not going to give out who the poets are going to be, but they are signing up, honey.
Okay.
It's about to be a whole weekend of poetry.
Last time they took up all my signing spot.
They
okay?
did.
And I
So
was
stop.
I was cussing them out in my head.
Well, don't
Trying
wait
to
too
sign
long.
up. I know.
Sign up ASAP. ASAP.
Listen.
So do you got more? You want to read another one?
Let me see.
She's gonna read another
let
one
me
for us,
read
y'all.
another one. You know what? I'm gonna read this one. Invested time, because I feel like that might kind of fall in line a little bit with what we're talking about.
And I'll put the link.
You know
the
what?
link
And I
is.
might just call this invested time.
Oh, okay.
And because I don't have like that, I don't have no name for it either.
I didn't know you didn't name your poetry.
I didn't realize that really until people were like saying, "Hey, also, what's that called?" I was like, I don't know. Just like people didn't know that some of my poetry I wrote like sitting down at the poetry table before I went on stage.
Really? Okay, you bad like that? Okay.
Yeah.
You right in the moment?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I'm always doing stuff in my head. I'm always randomly singing stuff that I make up, or whether it's poetry, rap, or singing. Like I do all that in my head.
So this one is not a name, but you just gave it one.
Right. Invested time.
Invested time. All right. We got
see.
Queen of Hearts right here on Conversations with Coach Live with her next piece.
Yes.
Invested time.
I used to think invested time was a reason to stay. All the lessons I taught, I didn't want to give it away. But staying stagnant only causes resentment and discontentment, whether friends, lovers, even the ones that you keep secretly under covers. 60 seconds is a minute. What's your cap on it? What's the limit? You've been here forever. You got the title of seniority, but what's the use when I've never been the priority? Tick tock, the clock strikes 12. Life is for living. Don't just sit there and dwell. Cinderella, I lost my slippers. I must be under a spell. Friends and foes, enemies and O's. That's just the way life goes. Pimps and simps, they say a real Igga who works hard walks with a limp. Tick tock, the clock strikes 2. Baby boy, what you want to do? Time is wasting, and I'ma keep it pushing if it's not with you. You used to be my A1 from day one. Got my blue blockers on, too hot to touch like the sun. Thought you was a winner, tried to be a little clever. Effed around and found out when you pulled the wrong lever. Tick tock, the clock strikes 4. Looking out the window and walking out the door. No more looking back, forevermore.
Okay, you got bars. So we were at snaps, y'all. Snap. I gotta get me some sound effects, but we're gonna give our own sound effects. So I was at verbalization. Shout out to my brother VCR, who's also on Mic Check, that comes on Mondays from 7 to 9. He did verbalizations, and you dropped a piece, which I have that on the Poe Therapy Instagram page. Y'all gotta go and look that one up, because that has a lot of swears in it.
That has
a lot of swears in it. But I did use that to actually promote you coming on the show. So if you go on Conversations with Coach La, the Instagram page, you'll see a clip of that particular piece. And I was like, okay.
Right. And that wasn't
you
even
was on
like...
your sexy, she was on her Little Kim sexy red with a sprinkle of Foxy Brown.
That's right, Foxy Brown.
I was like, I didn't even know you spoke like that.
I know, right?
Yeah. She's all professional, but then she went real gangster.
Right. Listen, I love me some rap and trap. Like,
yes,
DMX is my dog.
Yes. So which poets have influenced you?
You know, honestly, hard to believe. I don't have anyone that has influenced me.
Really? I was thinking about that question when I was going to ask you, because I feel like I am a plethora of different things. But if I had to pick somebody, I would probably say a really Phenomenal Woman by Maya Angelou was probably one of my favorite pieces.
Yeah.
But I feel like poetry, and this is kind of cliche, like I fell in love with it with Love Jones.
Yeah.
Love Jones. I was loving me some Love Jones, y'all. Like Brother to the Night. I was like, ooh. Yes, but I wrote poetry since the 5th grade too. But I feel like that movie was like, and then I went to Afrocentrics. Shout out to Michael Curry. And that was at Estelle's. And that was like, again, I feel like that was right around the time that Love Jones came out. And it was like this whole like sensual with the band and the beats. And I was like, oh, I like this
and
whole
all the
thing.
words.
It feels good. And I also used to listen to Mary Baraka in the Last Poets. So when I was at UMass Boston, I got exposed to poetry too, and then Deaf Poetry Jam.
Yeah.
So those were like some of my earlier influences, but I always thought they're so good.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, they're so good. I'm going to a poetry event in November at the Apollo, and it's called Poetry Me Please.
Nice. Okay, kind of like R&B.
Yeah, so Poetry Me Please. And they are, I would say, the closest thing to a deaf poetry jam right now.
Okay.
They've sold out the Apollo before, and this is the second time that they're doing it. So I was like, let me go check it out. So I got tickets and got me a hotel room. I don't know who's going with me, but I was very
in your suitcase.
I was very impulsive, put it that way.
Oh yeah.
So you're gonna read another one?
I might read another one.
You gonna read another one?
I might read another
one.
one.
So you should read another one, and then we're gonna talk about your bet on self moments.
Oh yes, because there's been plenty of that.
Well, while she looks for that, you guys know you're tuned into the Urban Heat, 98.1 FM. This is Conversations with Coach Lala. That came from Miss Angelina Hightower. She got me saying Coach La 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 La. But I'm your favorite around the way therapist, and we talk about everything and all things connected to life and intersected with therapy, because I truly believe therapy needs to be embodied in you. You can be your own therapist and your own life coach just in how you self-reflect and how you take care of yourself. Of course, I'm not knocking you getting a professional, because, you know, I am taking clients, but I do think that what I want for anyone is to really start to embody taking care of your mental on a daily basis. Now, what's the next piece?
Exactly. So this one I wrote in September 23rd.
Oh, so this is new stuff?
Yeah. So I got to start just putting this on paper, because, you know, when you put it on the phone and if you like retype, it'll change the date of what you did. And then
that is
I don't
very
always
true. You get it does edit it. So in the poetry community, what we say when something is, we say new shit. So this is some new shit. Go ahead.
All right. I was sitting reminiscing, couldn't help but feel like something's missing. I love my mind because it always plays random songs, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, no matter how long. Sometimes it's a song I make up on my own. This time he gave me Michael Jackson. From his collection of Your Mind, you couldn't even produce a fraction. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones to make a brighter day. So let's start giving. On some real, it doesn't take much for us to start winning. I don't know when we all lost trust, but working on attaining it is a must. The day will come when we will need each other. Spread love to your sisters and your brothers. I know things are a little finicky, and you're like, don't matter if they're akin to me. But in reality, this mentality must stop. You're only giving more power to the ops. I love it when I'm at an all-black event feeling like Wakanda forever, and I kind of want to feel that feeling forever. All that fine melanin, no wonder being us is a sin. I would be jealous too if I couldn't be a carbon copy within.
Bars. That was nice. Okay. You've been in your bag. You've been in your poetry bag.
When it's like random. So if I have to write it down. That's why I always carry my notebooks, or I guess thank God for cell phones. Yeah, right. So I just jot them down.
And now you can just talk into the phone. So like you can drive and literally just talk your poetry into a phone.
That's what I need to do.
But what I love is just that you get your thoughts out, y'all. For all those that are like low-key poets, because there's a lot of y'all out there that be writing poetry, but no one ever has seen it. You don't never read it to nobody. I challenge you to really go to an open mic and to express it. Like, it is so empowering.
Yes.
And it's so therapeutic to just get it out and to hear the reactions of the crowd, and just to like have people come up after and be like, man, thank you for writing that. That really spoke to me. Like, that's what I'm feeling too. Like, I now understand entertainers and why they perform.
I love it. I
mean,
like
it's I said it was like a poetic orgasm.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I would say
like
so.
the day I performed, like my whole body was so hot.
Listen, like, the audience gives me like
energy.
Yes, because I I'm nervous every time I'm up there.
Yes,
every
me too.
single
Me too.
time. And I always ask like my family members who are there or any of my friends who are there. I'm like, did you guys see my hand shaking? Did you see my knee shaking? Did you see anything shaking? They're like, no, you look fine. I'm like, oh, okay, because my heart's beating fast. But when the audience hypes me up, like I love that. Then it gives me more energy. Then I'm going, I mean, I'll still be shaking. My heart will still be beating. Like when I City Winery, like you mentioned.
Yes, the City Winery, I don't know, maybe two. I think the level of like the labeling of it, like we put like meaning to like the venue. Like the City Winery is like a big venue. So like the Lizard Lounge was like a big venue. But to people who perform all the time,
right, it's nothing.
That won't necessarily be the venue that would make them nervous.
Right.
But the Apollo might make them nervous. Or the Grammys
I
might
can't
make
even
them
imagine
nervous.
what that would do to me. Because when I was on stage at City Winery, that day, my right knees was like shaking like nobody's business.
No, nobody saw
and I
her
said, no,
shaking.
did anybody? But that never happened before. It never happened. So I was like, oh my God. But it was a bigger audience. It was different. Usually like when you do at the other events, like I feel like I'm at the level with the audience.
Yes.
So that might be a little
comfortable.
Right. I'm above the audience. So I'm looking down at them. So I think that's a whole different feel. But
definitely.
I like that too. It's pretty good. Like I will do another one. I need to get back more into it. I feel like I'm, I haven't been outside. So I gotta go back outside.
Well, this is a great segue to talk about bet on self moments, right?
Yes.
Because I think that often we are stuck to try things because of fear.
Yes.
I had Java with Jimmy on last week and he was talking about what's the opposite of fear. And he was saying that it was love, right? Or the opposite of love was fear. And I think that you can love something, but be so afraid to do it. And I think that's sort of the relationship with poetry. But bet on self moments are those moments where you have to believe in yourself, right? And that belief in yourself empowers you to step out and to transform a situation. And I say transform your life. So it's like, if it's not me, then who? And if not now, then when? So what are your bet on self moments?
I feel like I've had a lot, especially since when I turned 40. I'm like, I'm gonna start doing stuff. One being, going to Poe therapy, and then other open mic nights. So after doing Poe therapy, I definitely stepped into other open mics, and I'm so grateful. Shout out to all the people who sends me things, even till now, that anytime poetry things pop in, and remind, like, do it. So I definitely will look into those things. At work, I've been wanting to do more speaking engagements.
Okay.
So with their support and things like that, I have been able to go to like City Hall and speak on the behalf of advocation. And just I've been going to conferences and speaking. So just things like that. I'm putting myself in places that I'm not comfortable in or that have not really been into, that I wouldn't do. As I told people before, like, even networking, I feel like that's a bet on self, because I looked at networking like not what it actually is, because what it actually is just talking to people, right? And first of all, I don't really talk to people.
Well, how can that be when you say you like and love people?
I know that's crazy. I spent my whole life not talking.
That's a crazy oxymoron. I love people. I love helping people, but I don't want to talk to nobody.
Right. I can silently help you, and I've spent my whole life silently helping people. Now I talk a lot, so people who've grown up with me and they see me running my mouth, are like, "Oh, what is that?" Like,
the irony.
It is, but
so ironic.
Believe me, only you see, just like you say, you don't know how I can do a bunch of this. No one will ever understand how I operate. Believe me.
I never thought she was the person that was like not talking, but I think that also goes and speaks to people thinking that I don't get nervous every time I do the show, and I don't get nervous when I get up and speak, because I appear to be so confident.
Yeah, because you don't look nervous at all at anything I've seen you in.
But yeah, so I get it. I get that feeling.
Yeah,
I get perception. Because just people need to stop thinking they know, because you don't.
Yeah,
you should ask.
You should.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you think's helping you to make these shifts, to step out and bet on yourself? If you had to give advice to anyone that's listening, because it sounds good, like we seem like we got it all together. So yeah.
And
what about
I don't have it all together.
Yeah,
I know y'all do. A lot of people think
Nobody has it all together.
But yeah, right. But they think I do. Like, I know
that is the misconception. But let me tell you, everybody does not have it together.
No,
everybody got one area of their life that they got all that is just a mess.
Exactly.
But so what advice would you give people as we close out the show?
I would say step into your uncomfortability, step into the unknown, do what or stop thinking you can't do something. Stop thinking you can't do something. And don't overthink it, right? So I realize when I usually do my best or get the best results that I want to is when I do something without thinking, right? Like for example, going to pole therapy, putting myself on that stage. Had I put some more thought into it, like, oh my God, do I want to do this? I was just like, you know what? I'm going to do it. Right? So just do it. Don't put no other thought behind that. Just say you're going to do it and actually do it. Because if you give yourself time to think about it, you're going to give yourself time to think yourself out of it.
So true.
And you don't want to do that.
So true.
And I'm also the type of person like, try at least once. You don't know if you don't like something unless you try it. Unless it's dangerous for your life, please do not go out here trying something crazy because
I'm sorry, I'm not eating snake.
YOLO.
I was looking at this thing on Instagram and the man was cooking snake.
No, I carried a snake, but I ain't eating it.
He fried a snake. I don't know how I ended up on this person's site, but he cooked a bear.
It probably tastes good.
He cooked the whole bear. He cooked a bear, y'all. A bear, a snake, an alligator.
Oh no.
It was just all this. I was like, really?
But you see down south, they cook roadkill.
A raccoon.
You know that, right? Like they have a whole thing. Like that's a whole thing.
A raccoon.
Roadkill.
Yeah.
They call it that.
I'm sorry. Meal. There's just some things I ain't trying.
See, y'all don't have to YOLO that. Y'all can think about that.
Yeah, I'm not eating no bugs. It's just some things I'm not going to do. No. Those are not my bet on self moments.
Yeah,
I'm not doing that.
No. Something big.
Man. But I'm excited for you. And it's been such an honor and a privilege to watch you manifest in your poetic voice to emerge. And from that moment of like, I don't know. And like almost like double Dutch, right?
Exactly.
She was like jumping, acting like she was sure she was going to jump in the rope. And then she was like, okay, I'm going to do it. Then she gets to pole therapy and she's like, I don't know. Maybe. What number am I?
Like all these people. Right. Yeah. And you know what? It's hard to decide what number to be eating also. Because you're like, you know what? And that's how the overthinking part. Because I'm like, oh my God. Are they going to forget about me if I go first, last? You know, I don't know. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing.
Yeah. But I've watched you really, step into your own, the level of confidence, the less use of looking at your phone and more eye contact with the audience. Like you've really come into like a good space. So I'm excited about pole therapy and where we're going to go because it's such an awesome platform to build people's confidence. People don't understand. There's like a method to my madness. I'm like the Mrs. Miyagi of therapy. Like I'm wax on, wax off, kind of you're doing things and you don't realize after you've come around me that I didn't taught you a skill, but I didn't do it the way that you thought I would. And pole therapy is building people's confidence. It's helping people heal. It's really a dope platform for individuals to express themselves and to really, battle mental health. I mean, I know it doesn't seem like the usual space for it, but it's about mental health awareness. If people can talk about their emotions and stand up in front of a room, what that does to your confidence.
Because that's hard.
If you can do that, you can go network.
Exactly.
If you can do that, you can go have a conversation with your mama, your boyfriend, and your
everybody.
Husband.
Exactly.
So it has done a lot for people, and people have really given me that feedback. Like, wow, thank you. So stay tuned for more.
And I didn't even know there was a big poetry community in Boston.
No, a lot of
Black
people didn't
poetry community. That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for it.
Yeah. It's been really great.
Yes.
So thank you for coming and sitting on the virtual couch.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. And tell people where they can find you.
I am on Instagram, CV Queen _of_hearts, or my personal page 3VA_D.
Which is the one I got strolling down at the bottom.
I need to get more active on the Queen of Hearts one. It's easier to be on your regular one. But you can also find me on Facebook at EVANDISSA Cabral. Evandissa Cabral. That's, my government.
Yes. And when are you performing next?
You know what? I don't know. When? Dang, you said after
December 30th.
December 30th.
December 30th. That's what you were supposed to say.
At the Cape. Okay, go to Falmouth. Y'all better go. Yeah. Okay. Enjoy.
Tickets are currently on sale, everybody. Make sure you tune in next week. We'll have another episode of Conversations with Coach La. I got Queen King coming on to talk about her event, Write the Vision, which I will be speaking at. And you guys know what to do. Make sure you tune in tomorrow morning for the Morning Cafe. Because, the Urban Heat always keeps it hot and popping. We got shows and more shows. You know what we do. So y'all keep betting on self. Keep having dope conversations. And we will see you next week.
Connected to Unorthodox Radio from Boston and beyond. Heat981fm.com and iHeartStation.
It's the Urban Heat. Shout out to Coach La. Coach LA, it's time to listen to conversations that's gonna keep you winning. Sunday nights at 10 p.m.